Thank you, Mr. Nguyen. It's so good to see everyone again. Thank you for having me back. This is my second year speaking to this group at this conference, and I had such a great time last year, so I was very pleased to get the invitation to come back. So I'm happy to be here, happy to share some things that I've learned. I've been with KGI, the Keck Graduate Institute here in Claremont for about 3 years now, and we specialize in several different areas, but mostly in healthcare research and industry. So I'm assuming many of you are thinking about med school, thinking about PA school, pharmacy, whatever it might be. We definitely have a spot for you here at KGI, but I'm here mostly talking about best tips and practices, the things to do and not do during an interview day. And a lot of it's going to sound very common sense. Oh, Mr. Arajo, Nathan, I do this all the time. I would never do this at an interview day. You'd be surprised of what we've seen when it gets down to that moment. You've worked so hard to get to an interview day. You don't want anything to slip. You don't want anything to come up where you're not ready for it. And it just affects the perception of you and the perception of your desire to be in your particular profession. So I'm going to share my screen and talk a little bit about what I've seen as far as the things to do and not do. So once again, thank you for inviting me and allowing me to share a little bit about what I've learned. I also want to talk about MMI interviews. I know that is on the top of the list for students thinking about, okay, how do I need to prepare? What do I need to think about when I'm thinking about MMIs? For fun, I thought it'd be fun if you're able to chat, where does this webinar find you? Where are you currently sitting? Are you 1 year away, 2 years away from your desired goal? I'd love to learn a little bit about you as I'm talking. So what we'll talk about, I'll give you a quick introduction about KGI, and then again the tips when it comes to logistics, when it comes to how you dress, how you interact with faculty members and admissions committee members, and most importantly, when you answer these questions, what are you saying, and what does it say about you? And of course, I'll take questions from you. I love taking questions from our audience. For those that don't know, KGI is a member of the Claremont Colleges. So we are one of 7 institutions that are part of this Claremont Consortium. Some of the schools I'm sure you've heard of, such as Pomona College and Pitzer, Harvey Mudd, some of the most prestigious schools that you can get into here in Southern California. When we happen to be the newest one, so we just celebrated 25 years this past year, and it's really exciting because we've grown so much since our first program, our first year, and we're really excited about what we're building here at KGI. To give you a point of reference, we are just off the 10 freeway. So for those of you in Orange County, you basically take the 5 freeway, 57 freeway, all the way up to the 10, and we are in Claremont. So not far from the mountains, Mount Baldy, and not far from the desert like Joshua Tree, and still about 20 minutes away from Los Angeles. So if you want to get into the downtown area and hang out, or of course, if you want to go back home to Orange County, you could do that as well. And the reason we're really just strategically located in California, just because of all the available opportunities that are available to our students. So you can see here, based on 2019's numbers, just the amount of life science companies that are in California, the amount of jobs that are available, and most importantly, what every student asks about is how much am I going to get paid? How much do I invest in a degree? And what is it going to mean to me when I graduate? So our students have been very successful in obtaining these types of jobs, and most importantly, being well paid for their education. KGI, like I mentioned, is really known for 3 areas: research, industry, and healthcare. So if you're at all interested in those 3 areas, we have a program for you. We're really big on the flipped classroom approach. So if you come into our cohort, you're in a small cohort, first of all, and most importantly, you get to know your faculty really, really well. So they'll know if you're there at class, they'll know if you're skipping class, and most importantly, they'll know what you want to do, what do you want to research, what do you want to become. And we really have a degree for all these particular areas. We have master's degrees, PhD degrees, certificates. Again, I know most of you are interested in possibly going to medical school. So we do have post-bac programs that are for students that could use a competitive edge, that could use a little bit of a bump in their academics. And we also do have programs that are specifically for those that are interested in industry, such as our master's in business and science and biopharmaceutical processing. So really all that is here to support your path to medicine and your path to PA school. So I mentioned the certificates, and then we do have the master's degrees that lead into your particular program. So I'd love to let you know more about that. You can email me anytime. You can visit campus anytime. I do have a visit day coming up this Friday that I'd love to talk more about at the very end. So let's get right into it. Tips for your interview day. And a quick disclaimer. You can follow every single one of my bullet points here today and every single touch point that we're talking about. It does not guarantee you admission into a KGI program or any other particular program. So just please do your research. Please do your due diligence. Understand what the prereqs are, what the differences between the school, and really what every school is looking for is quite different sometimes. So I did want to throw that quick disclaimer. But again, I think we're going to get into mostly best practices from any school's perspective. So when you're thinking logistics, KGI currently offers both in-person and hybrid options when you're interviewing for a program. And I know most schools are doing the same thing. So thinking about when it comes to in-person interviews, which we do host on our beautiful Claremont campus all the time, I think it's important to map out your drive ahead of time and really think about what it means when it comes to traffic, right? If you're in Southern California, you understand what traffic means and that a 30-minute drive sometimes takes an hour, right? So our interviews are mostly on Fridays, and most schools do it during the week, Fridays or some other day during the week. So think about that. Think about that when you're planning your drive ahead of time. What does it mean when I'm driving at 8 a.m. on a Friday morning on the 5 freeway, right? And if possible, visit the school the day before, the night before. I know it's difficult for some students to do that, but if you're able to, why not remove a lot of the questions that you might have the day of by seeing where this building is, right? If I'm going to the health sciences building, what lot is it? What parking exit is it? And most importantly, where am I going on the day of my interview? And I think everyone kind of knows the idea is to get there about 15 to 20 minutes early, right? But here's the key word. Check in no more than 5 minutes early. And I know that maybe doesn't make sense, right? Why would I come 15 minutes but not check in 5 minutes early? A lot of times when my team is setting up for an interview, there's many things to do, right? We're setting up the schedules, we're setting up faculty rooms, we're doing maybe a reception area for students. And if a student decides to come about an hour early, which has happened before, right? You want to give them kudos for showing up early, but it also creates kind of an awkwardness between the student and the admissions officers, right? Because you feel like, oh, I maybe need to do some chit chat here, or I need to talk, I need to entertain. It's just like going to a party, right? If we go to a party and we're the first one there, it feels a little awkward. So why not just check in no more than 5 minutes early? And that way you remove that awkwardness and you still get the credit for being early and showing your interest and how excited you are for showing up for this interview day. One thing I like to tell students as well is to bring an extra interview attire with the shoes that match. And the reason for that is I've noticed a few students stop for breakfast, they stop for coffee, and then the next thing you know, they're on the freeway, someone cuts them off, and they just spill it all over themselves, right? We hope that never happens the day of your interview, but it could happen, right? So why not be prepared for that and pack an extra suit, pack extra attire that could always go with you in the car, right? You may be interviewing at many schools. Just have that packed away just in case for that exact reason where something has happened, because the interview day should really be about you. Your desire to go to this next level, your desire to get into that school. And when you don't feel good, right? You look good, you feel good. That's an old saying. If you spill that breakfast McMuffin on your shirt, you're noticing it, the faculty who's interviewing you notices it, and it just becomes a distraction. It just becomes something that you're thinking about. You're not thinking about your answers clearly enough, and the faculty is not thinking about your answers clearly enough either, right? So just remove all that ahead of time and have something extra for you just in case something happens. Virtual. Okay, we're all kind of used to this now. We're used to Zoom. We understand that we need to do certain things right. We understand that this is really a window into your life, wherever that may be. So when it comes to logistics, when you're thinking about doing an interview day virtually, make sure you have a strong internet connection. If you know your bedroom is the quietest place to have an interview, yet the weakest place to have a strong signal, don't do it there. Test your webcam, test your microphone prior to your interview. If you know your microphone's kind of shoddy and it just you can't seem to hear anybody, you feel like you're underwater because no one can hear you, test all those things ahead of time and remove all that during the interview day. Have something that you can rely on, have something strong that where people can hear you clearly and see you clearly. Again, the same rule applies for signing in early. Every interview day, my team is in a Zoom room like this one, and we invite students in and we say good morning. That's the best place to test your microphone, test your camera. Make sure we can hear you, make sure we can see you, and we're going to make sure that everything's working properly right then and there. If you're coming in late, if it's because we have a tight schedule to keep, right? Most schools do. If you come in late, it's going to be really hard for us to kind of knock those things out of the way and get those things taken care of prior to. One thing I like to tell students is position your camera so you're on the center of the screen. For those that may be watching me here, you can see I'm centered, but I've had a few students who like to sit really low and I could see maybe the top of their hair, or they're kind of to the side, or I can really just see their chin. Make sure everything is front and center on your screen because the faculty are watching it this whole time. And that really does play a role. I don't want anything that we're seeing to play a role. I want things to be professional. I want to be able to focus on you and your answers and not focus on the fact that you're kind of off-centered. And the same thing goes for adequate lighting. I like to joke sometimes where students are in dark rooms and I can't tell if they're in their house, if they're in a closet. It's really hard sometimes with students who are in darker rooms. So make sure you have adequate lighting and have a neutral background that's not distracting. A lot of us like to use a neutral background these days, and I think one that's just very simple. The blurred one is kind of the easiest one to do, but if you do one with LeBron James in the background and he's doing a reverse dunk, all I'm thinking about is the game tonight. And I'm not thinking about your answers and your ability to succeed at my school. So have something that is not distracting. Same thing goes for if you're not using neutral backgrounds. If I could see your bedroom and the bed's not made and your closet is open and I could see your clothes, that is something you want to remove from the equation. Make sure that everything is tidy and it looks professional. Let's get into professionalism. Remember that when you start communicating with the school, maybe you got invited to an interview day, maybe you were given kind of like a check-in that says, hey, got your application, you're missing a few prereqs, let us know how we can help. That is really the start of your interview, and that is really the start of your career. So how you communicate with this school really says a lot about you. So if the emails are not making sense, if they're not properly formatted, if the grammar is off, that speaks to you and that speaks to your name that you're carrying across the school. So remember that when you're responding, be respectful, be professional. Actually respond if a school reaches out to you. I'm seeing more and more no-shows. I am seeing more and more ghosting from students. It just baffles me that you would pay money in an application. I don't care if we're your seventh choice. I think the least you can do is say, thank you for the invite. Unfortunately, I will not be able to make it. Thank you for the time that you took to review my file. That is it. That takes 30 seconds at most, even on your phone, right? When you're typing it with your thumbs. It really speaks to your professionalism. And again, that really goes into accepting and rejecting admissions decisions too. If you got into the school and they gave you some fantastic news, but you chose another school, good for you. We want that. We want you to get into several schools because it means you're a fantastic student. And it means that we did a good job on our end too when we invited you and accepted you in the first place. So just a quick note, accepting or rejecting admissions decision. Again, there are many students that I run into that never tell us one way or the other. They let their offer expire and they never tell us where they decided to go or why they decided not to attend my school. So again, that all speaks to your professionalism. And this is a small world. I know the directors of admissions at many, many schools, and being in Southern California, most of our students are applying to those schools. So if a name comes up in casual conversation, and I would just hate to say, oh, I know who that is. That is the person that never responded back to me. You just don't want that word to get out about you. Remember, that carries with your name wherever you go. And a lot of schools are using the CAS systems now. And the CAS system, you're able to put in notes about unprofessionalism, no shows, ghosting, being rude, and every school can see that in the CAS system. So you don't let that be you. Just be someone who is professional, that can give good news and bad news. Remember, you're not going to hurt my feelings. I am happy for you wherever you go because our world needs more professionals like you in these professions. So you're not going to hurt my feelings. I hate to see you. I hate to lose you to another school, of course. But at the end of the day, I want you to take care of me when I'm old. I want you to take care of my kids. And I want you to do well wherever you end up. So the least you can do is let us know, and we'd be happy to wish you luck. And if you ever need anything, we'd love to stay in your network. So let's talk professional appearance. Even when you're virtual, I like encouraging students to dress as if you're interviewing in person. And for us, that means business professional. Many of our students come in full suits. And as you can see right now, I am wearing a dress shirt and a tie, but no one can see what kind of shorts I'm wearing or what kind of shoes I'm wearing, right? So most students decide to dress from the waist up, right? We've gotten very used to this in the pandemic, but I would encourage you, take it seriously enough to dress as if you would to dress in person. And I know that sounds really silly, right? Oh, Nathan, no one's ever going to see me. Um, why can't I wear my favorite pair of Crocs? The reason I say that is I think it comes to a mindset, right? This is how seriously you're taking it. Most of our interview days take between 5 to 6 hours long, right? You have to get into a mindset where you can't get too comfortable. You really can't take your foot off the pedal. You have to be on the whole time. And I'll give you a secret here. Some of our interview days are include interviews, of course, but also includes a section like this where you're watching slides, and it's really easy to check out. You check out, you're like, okay, I see the bullet points, blah 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 blah. But remember, you're keeping your camera on the whole time in my interview days, and in most schools, you will be required to keep your camera on, and we can see you. And if a faculty member is not presenting, what are they doing? They're watching. They're watching students to see who is engaged, who looks like they're falling asleep, who looks like they're on their phones. All that is part of the interview day process. It's all part of who's taking this seriously enough to lock in and stay engaged. I have 40 spots in my PA program. I get 2,000 applications. And when you have when you get your opportunity to come into an interview day, you better believe that every single student in that room is as serious as you are about interviews. But I have caught people falling asleep in an interview day. And it just goes back to how important is this day to you, and how are you going to take it seriously? So for me, I think dressing up as if you were in person really helps you get into that mindset. And guess what else could happen? Anything, right? You could go answer the doorbell at the front door. You get up. Next thing I know, I see the shorts that you're wearing. I see that you're not quite dressed all the way. Anything can happen. The camera can fall. We've seen it all. So why just remove all that from the equation? Dress as if you would be in person. And when you're in person, I did mention the suits. Definitely invest in one. Invest in one that still fits, not the one that you wore at grandma's anniversary dinner 7 years ago. Make sure it's definitely worth the investment because you're going to need it. You're going to need it at every interview that you go on, whether it's at school or for jobs. I like to tell students to be careful with the fragrances. When you wear a lot of aftershave, cologne, perfume, it can mean different things to different people, right? I've had faculty who are allergic to these smells. I've had faculties get instant headache when they come across these types of smells. So if you can avoid it, avoid it. Of course, deodorant, you know how everyone feels about that. It's different, but if you can do the minimum, I would do it. But if you have to do cologne, if you have to do perfume, just make sure it's a small amount, nothing too overpowering, nothing that could be a distraction. Dress shoes are a must. I've had students come in and they look fantastic, but they're also wearing the Air Max 2017s from Nike, and it just throws me off, right? Maybe I'm old school. I like to see dress shoes, but more and more students are starting to take liberties, and maybe that's the fashion, right? I'm maybe out of the loop, but again, I tell that story because I remember that story, not because of what the student did that day or how excellent they were. I remember it for the distraction that it was. That this person went all out yet wore their Nikes. You don't let that be you. I want your work and the way you interview to do the talking, not what you're wearing necessarily. So invest in dress shoes, avoid white socks. That's a big one. And remember, your interview starts the moment you park. So at KGI, we have a small campus. I pretty much can, on an interview day, I can see every car that comes onto our campus. So if you blow by the stop sign, if you just decide that our 5 mile an hour limit means nothing to you, that could be seen, it could be heard. You just never know who you're going to interact with. My president is very unassuming. You might park right next to him and have no idea he's the president of the school because he does not have his own parking spot and he drives a very humble RAV4, right? You just never know who you're interacting with. It could be the chair of the admissions committee. It could be the faculty member that's going to interview you in about 2 hours. So you just have to be mindful of everything. And it starts the minute you come across our campus. So if I hear you that you're on Bluetooth with your parents and you're like, I can't believe I'm wasting my time at this school, trust me, other people can hear it, other people can see it, and you just don't want that moment when you get into the room and go, oh my gosh, I cut this person off, or oh my gosh, I was a little bit rude to this person because they parked awkwardly next to me. All that, you have to be mindful that your interview does really start the moment you park on our campus. And phones is a big thing. Silence your phones, put away your phones. If you could leave them in the car, I would do it. But I know with emergencies and just responsibilities, you may have to have it in person. But put it away. It's important that all your attention is on your interview day, and it definitely makes a difference. Virtually, it kind of works the same way. The minute you sign on, it is your interview day starts, right? So if you sign in and it's a hot mic and you're saying something again to your parents and you're like, oh, I can't believe I'm wasting my time again, we can hear it. So make sure you're muted, make sure your camera is on. I think it's an absolute requirement for students to keep their cameras on during an interview day. So there's no hiding. You have to turn it on, you have to be locked in. And the phones is a big thing. Even having multiple tabs, having double monitors is a big thing. I could tell when students are not listening, right? If you're kind of looking down, and again, if you're looking at my camera, I'm kind of doing it visually, but I could tell when a student is kind of listening, but maybe looking at a phone, or they're listening, but they're reading something. They're reading about the basketball games on ESPN. You can tell those things now. When we're doing hundreds and hundreds of these interview days, we're just noticing every single thing. So again, you really have to take this seriously. You've worked so hard to get to this moment. You've paid a lot of money to get to this moment. Why mess it up with some of these little things that we've noticed with virtual etiquette? And then let the staff know if you're going to step away from your computer or camera. That's always a mystery to me when students disappear and I just have no idea where they went. Let someone know if you have to use the restroom. Let someone know if you got to open the door, if you got to take care of something. That's the best rule of thumb. Kind of for fun, why don't you chat in here? What picture shows the appropriate setup for a virtual interview? Is it A, B, or C? Just kind of chat in, see who's paying attention. I know these are kind of silly examples, but hopefully it makes sense and everyone's getting an idea. Okay, C's perfect. Yeah, that's exactly what. A, to relax. B, I love kids, I love families, but you don't want them there during your interview day. C is exactly right. What about appropriate attire? How should you dress for an interview day? Is it A, B, or C? B, yeah, perfect. Business casual. C, maybe on Halloween, we might let it slide, but don't even chance it. Just go straight into the business. Here's a hard one. This one always trips students up. Which picture shows the appropriate background for a virtual interview? And I always see a few different answers here. Okay, so we got a couple for A, perfect. Leticia, thank you. Hilda, thank you. Maria, okay, Maria, thank you. Yeah, so I think you guys are on the same track. Oh, we did get one B. All right, Sylvia. Yeah, some students are always like, well, A is kind of messy. Their books are kind of messy. So maybe I'll just do B. C, right, you're laying down. You look like maybe you're sick and shouldn't be doing this interview. D is definitely distracting. I mentioned the virtual backgrounds. Yeah, he's well dressed, but the iguana or lizard in the background, it just freaks me out. Personality, that's a good one with A. Absolutely. I think be who you are, be yourself. As you can see, maybe on mine, I have a couple vinyl records in the background. Some of you might see my books and my action figures that are in the background. Absolutely, be yourself, but you don't want it to be too distracting. So maybe I would tidy that one up a little bit, but A is the best option out of those four. Okay, MMI. So this is the one everyone's kind of been thinking about. MMI interviews are multiple mini interviews for those that don't know. It is a standard practice amongst most schools. We do use it here at KGI, and they're usually kind of like speed dating. It's usually you get about 10 to 15 minutes to answer a question, to answer a scenario, and it's all designed to assess how you communicate verbally and non-verbally as well. What we're usually looking for are students who can think on their feet. We're looking for students that are comfortable working with others because I want to know, how are you going to interact with my other 39 students that I accepted in my PA program? How are you going to react to something that is difficult to either understand or difficult to think about in the moment? Are you someone that just loves to be quiet and kind of sit in the background while everyone else answers the question? Or are you someone that likes to take charge and take leadership? We've seen it all. We've seen students that are so confident that they don't let anyone else talk, and that could backfire on you, certainly. We've seen students who are just like, I'm not going to say a word because I don't want to mess up. I don't want to say the wrong thing. That is also the wrong approach. We're looking for you to feel rest assured in your confidence in answering the question, but also someone that is respectful and humble enough and gracious enough to let everyone else have a say as well. We're not really testing you for specific knowledge. It really is all designed to see who can think on their feet and who is comfortable with these types of scenarios. So again, it's going to be ethical scenarios. It's going to be, what would you do in this situation? And usually you get about 10 minutes, sometimes 15 minutes to process the information and answer. And don't be afraid of like, oh my gosh, I think I've said the wrong thing. For us, it's about, and this is just for KGI's standpoint, I'm not speaking for other schools. For us, it's about, you know what, I really loved, and I'll just kind of pick on someone who in the chat, I really love how Tiffany answered this question. She was firm in her convictions. She was someone who was very knowledgeable in that particular subject. And maybe it wasn't exactly what we were looking for in the right answer, but she went for it. And that is absolutely what we're looking for. We want you to feel confident and rest assured in the idea of, I may not know everything I need to know about this subject, but here's what I know, and here's how I can answer it with about 30 seconds of prep time, right? We understand we're catching you off guard. We understand that not everyone is well versed in this experience or this particular scenario, and that's okay. We're really looking to see how you communicate verbally, non-verbally, and how do you work with others in teams. One thing to watch for, and I just saw it this past Friday, nervous habits. And we all have them, right? I have them. Mr. Wynn has them, I'm sure. Everyone has nervous habits, and that comes in the form of several different ways. It comes in the form of giggling. Some of us like to carry our pen around, and we like to twirl our phone. Some of us wear like a purse, and we kind of play with the strap. All those things are things that we all do. But what you want to be aware of is, what is my nervous habit? If you're not sure what it is, ask a close friend, ask a family member, ask an advisor. Hey, do I seem to do something when I get nervous? And they'll most likely know exactly what it is that you do. And when you have memory of it, if you have that awareness that, hey, I do giggle sometimes when I get nervous, your brain will tell you, hey, you're giggling again, watch it. Because all that again goes to that distraction. if I'm not letting my best self show during an interview, is it because I've been doing some of these other things like twirling my hair, clicking my phone? And the faculty will just see that. They won't see your answers. They won't see like, am I a good fit for this school and this community? They're just seeing those nervous habits. So be careful of all those things. Be careful of how you practice your handshakes. Here at KGI, I'm always comfortable shaking someone's hand, but I know everyone's different. We can do a fist bump. We can just do a hello, a wave, whatever you're comfortable with. Be careful on utterances. Again, we all have them. Some of us, we like to say like a lot. Some of us like to say, you know, a lot. And then this other issue is big. Avoid putting down other schools. I feel very proud about what we're doing here at KGI. I feel like we're the best school in the area, right? Who doesn't? But what I don't want to do is I don't want to speak to a student and say, you know what? Wow, your interview days was great because so-and-so schools was boring. It was too long and it was uninteresting, right? Thank you for the compliment about ours, but remember, it is a small world. I have many friends and co ex-supervisors that work at these other schools. I don't want to hear that about their school. It makes me feel good that you liked ours, but I don't want you putting down other schools because again, it goes back to the old saying, what are you saying behind us, behind our back? So there's a way you can compliment a school. You can even compare and contrast schools, but there's a way to do it without putting down the other schools. So be careful of that. One thing to do is always be prepared to ask questions. Whenever I'm in an interview, I always end it with, do you have any questions for me? And I'm always shocked when a student's like, no, I'm good. You may be good, right? But come up with something that shows your interest, something that shows that you have done your research and you've looked into our school. And it could truly be, I've answered every single question you have, but just come up with something. I think the easiest one to have in your back pocket is, oh, what do you enjoy about working at your current location? Or what is it about this cohort that interests you? You know, it could be something that you can throw it back on the interviewer. You don't need to have a true question about the curriculum or the program placement test that you take. It could truly be about that person's own attitude and thoughts about their school and their program. Everyone loves talking about themselves. It's their favorite subject to talk about. So throw it back on your interview if you don't have a question. Follow-up thank you cards, emails. It's a dying art. Less and less students are doing it. So why don't you bring it back by starting to send thank you emails and thank you cards? I can count on one hand how many thank you cards I've received in my 3 years here at KGI. So it is something that is lost. I think it's a very respectful and classy thing to do, especially if you take the time to handwrite one. But at the very least, do an email. Send an email to the admissions team that helped you get to that point. Send an email to the faculty that interviewed. If you're not exactly sure who they are or how to reach them, you can ask the admissions team to do it. Some schools might say like, oh, we can't accept that. Maybe at the very least they can pass along a message that you have for them. And don't be afraid to keep in contact because remember, this is the start of your network. We've had a few students that did not come to KGI that are being mentored by KGI faculty because they hit it off in the interview day. They hit it off at a visit day. So you just never know where it could lead you. So keep that open. Prepared, we're always going to ask you about, hey, if you came up, if you have you ever had a conflict with a coworker or a classmate? That's a classic one, right? So I would be prepared to have some answers, have some stories for those types of questions. I call them back pocket examples. You want to have a story for kind of different types of struggles that you've had. Maybe you haven't had any, right? Think about something. It could be at school, it could be at your church, it could be at work. There's got to be something that happened where you had to solve a problem or you had to work with someone to solve a problem together. I like using the STAR format because it really gives us the situation, the task, the action, and the result of that particular story that you shared. A lot of students tell the story, but they never really tell us the ending. They never told us, well, how did it work out with you and so, or how did it work out with that project? They just like to talk about how they maybe saved the day or maybe what the problem was, but you have to give us the result. So that STAR format really helps guide you into, okay, there's other things that I need to answer here when I'm answering this question. And be genuine. There's nothing that we've heard it all, quite frankly. So we're just looking to see something that we didn't learn on your CAS application. Was there something that you can tell us to help us make this difficult decision that we couldn't read in a transcript, or we couldn't read in a personal statement? Because these interviews are about you. They're not about the interviewers. It's truly about you and if you're a good fit for this program. When you're going through these interviews, be careful, know what you're looking for. Are you looking for a brand? Are you looking for the most scholarship? Are you looking for curriculum that suits you? Big school, small school, know these things. And I think the best way to know about yourself and really know what the difference is between other schools is accept all invitations to interview. I think, it is a time commitment. I did mention our days are about 5 to 6 hours long. So I totally understand that. I know it's a commitment to be part of these interviews. So I think the best way is just to accept all of them. You never know what you're going to see. You never know what you're going to find. I mentioned the networking, the relationships that can be built even at an interview day is important. So why not accept all invitations that you can get invited to, and really do your research, ask good questions. Going a little quick, I know I'm running out of time. Some other tips: watch how you frame your questions. I think a lot of times students will say, well, why should I come to your program, right? What you can say is, what could I expect if I were accepted into this program? This is a really good way to rephrase that, because it gives the interviewer an opportunity to share a little bit about them, a little bit about their school, and what you can expect to be part of that community, right? But when you say, why should I come? It just comes off a little off-putting and maybe shows that you are not as serious about this program as they are serious about you. And this is your professional network, everyone. This is where it starts. It starts at the grad school interview level or your undergrad interview level. It really is the beginning of your network. And I can't stress this enough. Be true to yourself. Let the program see who you are. We're trying to see something that we didn't see in the application. We know your GPA. We know what your letters of rec say. We know what your personal statement says. We want to know something else. We're trying to pull that from you. And you really have to do your due diligence to see that. I did want to invite everyone at KGI. We do have summer programs that are free. That's right, free summer programs. We don't require standardized exam. We really just we do a $20 application fee, and we have several programs that are designed to get you a head start on your graduate degree, either here at KGI or elsewhere. So it's just a nice way to get exposure to a particular industry. So for example, if you were interested in, let's say, medical devices, and you're like, man, I wish there was a program about that. We do have that. We have a medical device development boot camp. If you're interested in pharmacy, there's a pre-pharm program that is available. If you're interested in PA, we have a what we call PASS, our PA program, summer success program. It really enables students to get an idea of what PAs do. And all these programs are taught by our program directors, our faculty that are part of these programs. So it's just a great way to get a hold of it. You will notice there's a few that have closed. So I do apologize the timing here. There are a few of them that have closed, but every year we get about 900 students that are part of our summer program. I did want to invite everyone. We always host a Friday campus tour. So come out 10 o'clock to about 11:30 or so. You'll meet me. You'll get to see some of my team. I'll walk you around. I'll introduce you to some faculty and some other current students as well. This Friday, I know it's last minute, but if anyone is available this Friday at 9 o'clock, I am doing a visit day. And this is kind of our jam-packed full day event where you can come learn about not only your particular program of interest, you can learn about summer, you can get a campus tour, and it's all led by the program directors and faculty of their program. So if you're thinking about PA school, come learn from our PA program director. See what she thinks about PA, see what she thinks about the profession. If you're thinking about med school, there's one specifically for students that are thinking about med school. So that is this Friday at 9 o'clock. Just RSVP with me, admissions at kgi.edu. Or if you go on kgi.edu, the first thing that comes up is an invite to visit day. Click on that link there. And then we are doing some fun things this year. We're doing Decision Day, May 19th. We're going to give you a decision on the spot here at KGI. So a lot of exciting stuff that we're doing as well. And yes, all our summer information can be found on the website, kgi.edu. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this up for a couple seconds, and then I'll stop sharing. But is there any questions that anyone has in regards to interview tips, KGI itself, my personal opinion on things, anything at all? I love to stop here, and you can chat it or you could unmute yourself. I'm comfortable with both. So I see one from Lorena, our summer programs held online. It's a hybrid. So we have some that are strictly online and we have some that are on campus. So whatever works for your schedule, that's what we have at KGI. So it's fun. Some students do the online one because they can't come to campus, and then others want to come to campus. So they want to come see what we're all about. So they spend a couple days with us here throughout the summer. So that's a great question. So I saw Hilda, I saw an old question. How many students are usually invited to interviews? We do have a interview day that sometimes is very packed. And for me, packed is about 30 students. And we've had interview days as small as 5 students. So we're trying to keep them light. We're trying to keep them small because all for that reason of we want you to shine. So if I invite 100 students, it would be very easy for me and my team to do that. And we call it quits, but we want you to shine. We want to get to know you. So typically it's about between 5 to 30 students at the most. Diana, pre-PA program, I don't know if you're talking about the certificate, but we do have a post back for PA students that are thinking about pre-PA. All that can be found at kgi.edu. Just look at our post back certificate for PA. If you're thinking about summer, there's a program that we call PASS, PASS, and that is on the website as well. Let's see. Is there any summer programs that include housing? There is, but it's very limited. It typically, for about 60 bucks a night, we let students stay on campus on our housing facility here at KGI, but it's very limited. We only pretty much get about 30 rooms, I want to say. So if you're interested in that, you would have to apply immediately, get accepted, and then start working with our housing facility team to get a spot. But it is limited, I must say. Diana, thank you. Yeah, Pass. Love to have you at Pass, and it's free. That particular one, Pass, is online this year, and it's about 3 days long, about 8 to 3 p.m. So love to have you at Pass, Diana. Any other questions I can help answer?
Hey Nathan, actually, I have a question for you. Okay,
Yes, sir. Yes,
I
sir.
know that especially for med schools, years ago, I recall learning about like open file interviews versus closed file, and also typical formats. Is it 1 round, 2 rounds? Is it more so only one person, 2 people? What's your typical? What's your experience, at least at KGI, with your med school?
So typically we do not do closed files. So most of the faculty have a good idea of who's coming into the interview because most of them do a review of the applicant. So when they are inviting students, they have a good idea of who's coming in, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the student the faculty that you interview with is the one that officially approved your file. So you could run into a faculty member that has no idea who you are as an applicant. So that it's a little mix of both. We do have some students that run into faculty that know them very well, and then we have students that run into faculty that don't know them well because we kind of interview by committee. So some faculties do not interview every single student. They kind of go through a round robin.
Well, it looks like Tiffany did have a question that's posted earlier. It looks like she asked about the hours or the dates for some of the online programs and the benefits of attending these online summer programs.
Yes, Tiffany. So the dates are throughout different weeks in June and July. So it really depends which program you end up choosing. But if you were interested in, let's say, PASS, for example, that one's going to be in June, and it's only 3 days long. And that typically is about 8 a.m., 9 a.m. start to about 3 p.m. The benefit of attending online is really just the convenience. So if you don't have to jump in a car, jump in a freeway, you can just do them online. There's some some big benefits, I think, with doing them in person. Not only do you get to interact with faculty in person and other cohort mates in person, but some of our programs pay stipends. So we do pay students about $500 to do research, to do work here on campus. So those are benefits for in person, but the online, I would say, is because of the convenience factor. Yeah, great questions. Yeah, anything else I can answer for anyone? I did leave my email. Please reach out anytime. If you do want to come to campus, this is an open invite. I love to host you. I'll take you to lunch, coffee, Jamba Juice, whatever is your pick. Love to have you. And then again, if anyone is interested, come see us on Friday, because that's kind of the best day to kind of visit KGI, is when we do something big and grand and we have every single program represented, every single faculty member represented. This Friday is kind of a great way to start.
Hey, Nathan, quick question. What would your recommendation be for attire for women? Is there anything specific or any tips that you would recommend?
Yeah, nothing specific necessary for women, other than if you're able to follow the business professional. So whether that looks in I've seen many women in our interviews wear suits. So if that is something you're comfortable with, wear that. But I've also seen women not do that too. They just had a very nice blouse on and a skirt maybe, or dress pants. That is something that we've noticed as well. But we've never had a problem with anyone being inappropriate or too revealing or anything like that. So it's kind of like a rule of thumb, something that you would wear to like Easter service or something. I don't know. It really is. We've never had a problem with that kind of attire. So just whatever you would wear at a job interview, because essentially, we take these very seriously, and our students take it seriously too. But Armando, thanks so much for that question. And thanks for all your help putting in the links with the different programs. I appreciate that.
Yeah, we have another question. Are the applications open for this summer?
Yes,
Or-
there was only, oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
There was only 2 programs that are closed, and then I'll put them in here. They're acronyms: SURE and B Suite. Those are the only 2 programs that officially closed. And again, I just apologize. It's just the timing. We closed on March 30th. Everything else is up for grabs. So if anything else looks interesting, and we take high school students, we take grad students, we take undergrads. There is an emphasis for juniors and rising seniors when it comes to spots. But if you're in high school, or even if you graduated already, you're more than welcome to apply and be part of it. And we have great programs. There's one that's specifically about genetics. There's one specifically about students that are interested in medical device, as I said earlier. And then we even do a boot camp for those that are applying to med school. So if you want someone to be brutally honest, that doesn't know you well, that will read your personal statement, that will read your resume, and that will help you with MMI, do the ABC program, because it's taught by our program director of the post-bac programs. And this is all he does for a living, is look at students and kind of determine, can I get them to med school? Can I get them to PA school? So that program is really popular, and it's limited. That one we only take about 15 students, because we want you to really work with someone and get in-depth help. And again, it's for those that are willing to take the criticism and feedback and say, okay, I have some work to do. And even if you're not ready for this cycle, take it a year early. It's okay. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. So it looks like it's 12 noon already. We're going to be actually closing out this session. If there's any final questions, maybe we could just take one final question. Then I'll just say a few closing remarks. Anything? How about Nathan? Did you want to say something?
I just want to thank everyone again for attending this webinar, and thank you, Ms. Nguyen, for inviting me again. I hope to be back next year, but I can't encourage you students enough. This is important work that you're doing. Stay with it, stay positive, and just the fact that you're at a webinar like this when you can be anywhere else really speaks volumes. So you're on the right track. Stay with it, and if I can help in any way, please allow me to do so. But thank you again.
So Nathan, we sincerely want to thank you for presenting information on basically, interview tips and fundamentals for students looking at the various health professions, and also even for our counselors who are also joining us today. Also for students, I'm actually going to give you 2 final tips through my experience with interviews, okay? Because for me, I'm actually not a naturally good communicator. I actually took public speaking twice to get over my fear of public speaking. And then on top of that, I've helped at least a dozen people to apply for both med schools, pharm schools, full-time counseling jobs. My 2 tips for you is this. 1, when you're practicing, whether it be virtual or in person, take out the iPad, take out your camera and video record yourself. See how you're coming across, the impressions that you're coming across. The good flow, good connection, all that. It really is, all the nonverbals of communication. It's such an important aspect. And number 2, get a mentor. Get a faculty member who knows the process. Get a director of, X, Y, and Z, whether we med school, if you have some connections, or HR, human resources, whoever is a very good, polished person who has interviewed a lot of people before. They may be able to assist you out through the process, and it's going to make the process much easier for you, whether it be for jobs, graduate school, or any of the various professional schools. So those are my 2 tips for you, because I myself had to go through all that to prepare myself. All right. With that, we are actually going to be closing out this session, and our next session starts at 12:30, and I believe it's some of the nursing schools. Okay. Lastly, please note that all these presentations will be posted on our Transfer Center's website by the end of the May. We just have to basically take them, put them together, and then make sure that they are closed captioned correctly. Then we will post them up for everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. And again, thank you, Nathan, for your presentation today.
Thank you.